Hi, my name is Maddie. I'm 22 years old, and today I'm going to share a story with you all about a diagnosis that changed my family. When I was 11, I came back from my first summer at sleepaway camp. Not only was I in a great mood from a fantastic summer with new friends from all over the country, but I was also getting my braces put on that day. After my appointment at the orthodontist, my family and I took a trip to the beach. Being from New Jersey, this was a common occurrence. We met up with our friends who took us out on their boat for the day. Though this was shaping up to be a pretty exciting day for an 11-year-old, something wasn't quite right. My head was killing me. I had never had a headache like this. We boarded their boat nonetheless, but I didn't get any better. Thinking it was just a reaction to the pain of getting my braces put on, everyone let me lay down on the floor of the boat and float in and out of consciousness throughout the day. By that night, on our way home, I was vomiting off the boat. Still, everyone remembered getting their braces on being pretty painful, so no one thought much of it. By the morning, after vomiting all night, I could barely stand on my own. Finally, we went to see my pediatrician, who immediately called me an ambulance and sent us to Cooper Hospital in Philadelphia. I don't remember much after that because I spent a lot of time unconscious. I do remember, however, the several spinal taps I had so that they could test my spinal fluid. Several because my spine was so swollen that it took multiple tries to get to. That's when we found out I had contracted bacterial meningitis. Bacterial meningitis is an infection of the membranes, or meninges, that protect the spinal cord and brain. When the membranes become infected, they swell and press on the spinal cord, or brain. Symptoms can develop suddenly and include a high fever, headache, drowsiness, and vomiting. While there is a commonly available and frequently required vaccine, it is most often spread through person-to-person contact via close contact. This all made perfect sense. From the symptoms I had to the fact that I was just at sleepaway camp in close quarters with thousands of teenagers, the only question left was why. I had my vaccines. Eventually, we found out that these vaccines were upwards of 90% effective, and I just happened to get an unlucky infection. The treatment for my meningitis took about 2 weeks in the hospital. Cooper Hospital even flew in a specialist on pediatric meningitis to help treat me. I remember every morning when the doctors and residents would come to do their rounds, a huge crowd would come into my room because everyone wanted to see the little girl who had meningitis. During my time at Cooper, several healthcare professionals made a huge impression on me through their compassion and commitment to my health. One nurse lent me her phone for the entire day to watch videos of her pet pig. The specialist I mentioned before was so attentive to me and my family, checking in constantly and advocating for me when I could barely talk. Eventually, I made a full recovery and went on to start 6th grade. However, these 2 weeks stuck with my family for a long time. Whenever I would get a headache, my mom would have me touch my chin to my chest to make sure my spine wasn't swollen. Even just last year, when my sister had a multiple day-long headache, my mom took her to urgent care and got her a spinal tap just to rule out meningitis. She didn't have meningitis. She had a cold. Ultimately, this experience made a huge impact on my family, especially my mom. I think we often rely on parents to be strong, especially in the face of a sick child, but rarely consider the toll these incidents actually take on a family. While this experience certainly makes me grateful for my health, it also reminds me how lucky I am to have such caring and attentive parents. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Here are the sources I use to find information on bacterial meningitis, and I encourage you to check them out and learn a little bit. I also want to make it clear how grateful I am that I did have a vaccine so that things weren't as bad as they could have been. I'm also so grateful to vaccines because meningitis is contagious, and the people around me didn't end up contracting it. So stay healthy, and thanks for listening.